Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to this special edition of Executive Coup. Today, we're going to talk about something very important: your constitutional rights when contacted by ICE agents. Whether at your home, in your car, at work, or in public places, you have rights protected by the United States Constitution, and these rights apply to all people physically on U.S. territory, whether or not they're U.S. citizens, permanent residents, or otherwise. When ICE comes to your house, the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects your home against unreasonable searches and seizures. This means that ICE generally must have a valid court order to enter your home without consent. It's very important to know this. A Form I-200 from the Department of Homeland Security is not a valid court order. ICE needs an order signed by a federal judge or federal magistrate, not by ICE officials. What to do step by step. If ICE knocks on your door, first, do not open the door immediately. Grab your phone and start recording the encounter. You have the right to record authorities while they perform their official duties. Second, ask them to show you a valid warrant. Ask them to slide the document under the door or show it through a window. Third, examine the document carefully. If it appears to be signed by a judicial court, then you can consider opening the door. If it is not signed by a judge, you can continue talking through the door or simply not speak with them. Your right to remain silent. The Fifth Amendment establishes that no one is obligated to be a witness against themselves. This means you do not have to answer any questions that may incriminate you. You are not obligated to discuss your immigration status, whether a U.S. citizen or anything else. Your right to an attorney. The Sixth Amendment guarantees you the right to legal assistance. You have the right to speak with a lawyer before answering any questions from ICE. If ICE enters your home by force, do not physically resist, do not get violent, tell everyone in the house to remain silent, do not answer any questions until speaking with a lawyer in private. If you have valid immigration documents, show them. If you are arrested, clearly say, "I wish to speak with the lawyer," before answering any questions. Once you invoke these rights, ICE is required to respect them, and they cannot compel you to say anything. Certainly, if they do, contact a lawyer as soon as possible. When ICE stops your car, the automobile exception, you should know that the Fourth Amendment has what is called the automobile exception, according to the U.S. Supreme Court. If ICE or police observe something illegal in plain sight in your vehicle or smell illegal substances, they may have legal authorization to search your car without a search warrant. What to do during a stop. If ICE attempts to stop your car, first stop in a safe, well-lit area if it's nighttime. Turn off the engine and turn on the interior lights if it's dark. Second, do not flee. Grab your phone, place it in the cup holder, and start recording. Recording is conduct protected by the First Amendment. Third, roll down the driver's side window and be courteous and respectful. Fourth, if you're driving, be prepared to present your license, registration, and proof of insurance if requested by police. ICE can legally ask the driver and passengers to exit the car for safety reasons. Agents can also conduct an external pat-down of your body for weapons if they have reasonable suspicion that you may be armed. If you are not a U.S. citizen but are legally in the country, federal law requires you to carry your immigration documents if you are over the age of 18. If you have valid documents, present them if stopped by ICE. If you are in the country illegally, stay calm, do not resist, do not flee, do not lie, and do not provide false documents. Don't answer questions, don't consent to searches. Do not answer questions about your day, where you're coming from, your immigration status, or anything else. But be respectful in refusing. For example, say, "Officer, I respectfully decline to answer any questions." Also, do not consent to any searches. If you're arrested, make it clear that you refuse to answer any questions until you speak with a lawyer. Let's talk about when ICE comes to your workplace. Public versus private areas. ICE can enter business areas that are open to the general public without prior authorization. However, ICE cannot enter areas that are not open to the public, such as back offices, employee break rooms, employee-only restrooms, kitchens, employee lockers. What to do? Grab your phone and record the encounter, but do not touch or obstruct the officers. Recording is conduct protected by the First Amendment. ICE cannot make you delete the contents of your phone or search it without your permission or without a valid search warrant. Send a text message or email to your lawyer informing them that ICE is at your workplace. What you should not do: do not run, do not get violent, do not make threats of violence. As discussed, the Form I-200 from the Department of Homeland Security is not a valid search warrant because it is not issued by a neutral and detached judge or magistrate. If ICE has a valid warrant signed by a judge, you must allow them to conduct the search as prescribed in the warrant. But remember, ICE cannot search in areas where the items or persons named in the warrant could not possibly fit. For example, you can't look for a person in a notebook. Your rights. First of all, shut your mouth and do not answer any questions. Say respectfully, I do not wish to answer any questions until I speak with a lawyer. Then ask, am I free to go? If they say yes, walk away. If they say you're being detained, don't walk away, but respectfully ask, what crime am I suspected of committing? If ICE enters by force, do not resist. Tell everyone to remain silent. Do not answer questions until speaking with a lawyer. If you have valid documents, show them. If you are arrested, say you wish to speak with a lawyer before speaking with anyone. Let's talk about if ICE stops you in public. Your recording rights, as previously discussed, several federal courts have determined that taking photos and recording in public places is conduct protected by the First Amendment. The U.S. Supreme Court also established that police generally cannot search the contents of your phone or make you delete content, obviously without your consent or without a valid search warrant. If you are detained, if you are approached by ICE, remain polite, respectful, and calm. The Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable searches and seizures. Ask, am I free to go? Remember, until you ask if you can leave, the detention is considered voluntary. If they respond, no, you are not free to go, then you're being detained. In that case, politely ask, what crime am I suspected of committing? Let's talk about basis for detention. To detain you, ICE must have reasonable suspicion that you are participating or about to participate in criminal activity related to violations of federal immigration law. This suspicion must be based on specific facts that they can articulate, not just hunches. If they detain you and the agents have a reasonable belief, under the circumstances, they can conduct an external pat-down of your body for weapons for safety. Know that they cannot manipulate the content in your pockets. They can only just plain pat. There's no feeling, oh, what's this? If they, by plain touch, feel, for example, what they believe is a weapon without manipulating it, then they can retract it for officer safety. Let's see. Assert your rights. You have the right to remain silent. As we discussed, you do not have to discuss your immigration status or whether you are a U.S. citizen, permanent resident, on a visa, otherwise. If you have valid immigration documents, show them. It may end your encounter sooner. If you're arrested, say you wish to speak with a lawyer before answering any questions. Once you invoke this right, ICE must respect it. Remember these key points. You can always record your encounters with authorities. You have the right to remain silent. Use it. You have the right to a lawyer. Request one. Do not consent to searches without a valid court order. Never physically resist, but you don't have to answer questions. If your rights are violated, contact a lawyer as soon as possible if you believe your rights have been violated. You may be entitled to recover monetary damages. If a state or local official violates your rights, you may have a claim under 42 United States Code 1983. If a federal officer violates your rights, you may have what is called a Bivens claim under case law. These constitutional rights apply to all people on U.S. territory, regardless of citizenship status. Know your rights, use them respectfully, and seek legal assistance when you need it. Thank you for watching this video. Stay safe and remember, knowledge of your rights is your first line of defense. Keep following Executive Coup for further updates on this matter and others related to the apparent executive coup attempt that is unfolding in the U.S. federal government at the direction of President Donald J. Trump. Thank you.